Go ahead.
This is the third episode without Aaron. Aaron, we miss you. You're right here, though. He's right here. He's right here.
Everyone say hi to Aaron.
Everyone say hi to
Hey, let me do that introduction again. What's up, guys? Joe from Creative Culture, my boy.
NEMO.
And this is our boy, Aaron.
Hey, now I should get a snippet out of one of the videos just to say, it's your boy Aaron.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing thing. Aaron, you know we miss you, man. I know that I know he would have had a lot of things to talk about with this topic.
Yeah.
And we'll probably resurface the topic again when he gets here.
We're going to have to.
For me, it's not what I wish someone would have told me in high school. I think it was, I wish I would have been humble enough to listen to everything that they said to me.
Good one. As I was saying it, I was thinking, like, what advice did I receive? Bro, I received a lot of advice. I just didn't receive it. I was told a lot of advice.
Like, for me, I think the one thing is, if there was a few things that they did tell me that I never listened to, such as, wait to have sex before marriage, stuff like that. Focus 100% on your schooling. I wish someone would have told me, though, that I would have been, I'm just going to be honest, as horny as I was as a kid. Like, I wish someone would have actually explained to me every single thing that happened. Like, the things that happened. Because it would have probably stopped me from being very stupid in high school.
Yeah.
Because I did a lot of dumb stuff. And I used it, it just sucks. I was a sports player, stuff like that. So I think it was just easy for me to do what I wanted to do. So I just wish that someone would have at least stopped me and said, hey, this is what's going to happen. Like, I knew it was going to happen. But I feel like they would have. I wish someone would have shook me 100% on making sure I wouldn't have made those mistakes.
Sometimes you got to slap people in the face, man.
Yeah.
Like, hey, stupid. This is what's going to happen.
I feel like I needed that, bro.
Let them know there's the repercussions of your actions.
What was something that I would say, like, for you?
Man, let me see. For me, and this is one thing that I've been trying to teach somebody lately. It honestly, and this goes back to God and my relationship with Him, dude. I wish I would have studied the Word more. I just watched a video. It was a testimony of 7, and
that guy right there. Oof. I'd love to have him on the podcast, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think he'd be really cool to have on the podcast.
But on his testimony, he's like, dude, when I got saved, and like when I really got saved, he said he would spend about 10 hours a day in the Word of God.
Jeez, 10?
10 hours.
10 hours.
Commitment, man. But your relationship to God is huge. So for me, a lot like that was the lack of everything else that I did, man, was just the lack of God in my life. I wish I would have focused on God more.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Why you say that, man? I wish so too. I wish I didn't play with God as much as I did.
Yeah.
Because I knew the Word, because I knew that, like, obviously my dad's, pastor. They did a lot of leadership. They were doing in high school. They became, I think, full-time in ministry with New Life for Girls. So I wish that I would have probably listened a little more and actually read my Word, actually did it. But in high school is also when I found God 100%.
Yeah.
I guess I guess I'll just share it. Obviously one of my best friends passing away in high school, getting shot for no reason. That right there is really what grabbed my attention. I really feel like it wasn't like I wish someone would have told me this. It's just I wish I would have listened, because maybe him and my best friend one of my best friends wouldn't have passed away, because I feel like God had to have that happen for me to open my eyes to realize that, hey, you're next if you don't get your life right, if you don't get your life intact. Being in high school, doing what I wanted to do, being really one of the only Hispanics in my high school, it played a lot. I was from the hood. I went from a hood school, literally from the most ghetto school, half of my freshman year, to going into this predominantly Caucasian high school with your spritz of blacks and like 2 drops of Hispanics, because there really wasn't any. So my culture changed. The culture of my high school changed from seeing everybody that I know, from knowing everybody, to then me only knowing a senior, which was my cousin. And because I knew my senior, I got away with whatever I wanted to, because he was like the favorite senior of the high school. Everyone knew who my cousin was.
Yeah.
Shout out to Edwin. He's watching it. I already know he's watching it. And he can testify. I can call him right now, and he'll testify to him being the most popular kid in high school. And his senior year especially, I'm coming as a freshman. I'm hanging out with all the seniors. So I already started, I guess, high school in that new school different.
Yeah.
So I wish I would have just
Yeah, like a
listened.
head start a little bit.
I wish I would have just listened and maybe not had, probably I wouldn't have done the stupidity that I did from, dabbing into drugs, dabbing into a lot of fighting, a lot of stupidity. Seeing my best friend pass away was really the thing that caught my attention, which is what grabbed me, like God saying, "Hey, wake up.
Yeah.
Either you wake up or you're next." And that's really what happened. And thank God that I'm here.
Yeah.
No,
that's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, it's a bad situation, but
it's terrible.
it's good that you're here. Sometimes, and it sucks, man. You got to go through some stuff, man, to learn and grow, build your character.
Do you feel like God, and it's kind of off topic, but since we're talking about high school, do you think that God sometimes, like, I feel like, I'll say this, I feel like God allowed everything in high school to happen for me just so now in the future I can talk to the high schooler or the one that just got out of high school that can be like, hey, don't do this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because, man, I did a lot of dumb stuff. My senior year, we moved to from Pennsylvania to California. I got kicked out of school 2 weeks before I was supposed to graduate. I didn't get to take my finals. I got kicked out of school. I got kicked out of school. Because I got kicked out of school, I didn't get my finals. But the thing is, I didn't need the finals to graduate high school because I was already, all my grades was up.
Yeah.
So I ended up not graduating high school. I ended up hating, schools a lot to where it kind of leads me to when it comes to graduation season, I don't necessarily like it to this day.
It's like a bad.
It's just a bad
memory for
it's
you?
a bad taste in my mouth because it's like I was supposed to walk.
Sorry.
I was supposed to walk, and but because of that, like I feel like God allowed me. Like he didn't take me out of the situation I was in.
Yeah.
Like he allowed me to drown in my situation to realize like you should have listened. You should have been more attentive to everything. You shouldn't have been the so and so like the quote unquote popular kid.
Yeah.
Cause I'm not saying I was popular, but everyone in a sense knew
but you weren't on the bottom of the totem.
No, everyone knew me. They didn't mess with me. They knew not. We don't mess with Nemo. This guy is, he's no joke. And
you know what, God's intentions for us, man, and not to be going through life, with hardships. Although His Word says that we will be persecuted, But the thing is, like His intention for everybody, man, we just live a righteous life, loving one another, and not having to go through those hardships. But unfortunately, we do because we don't listen. As humans, we don't listen, and so like one of the things for me, one of the things that I went through in high school. Like if I were to go back and like slap myself in the face, by, bro, you're stupid, you idiot, bro, you're too cocky. I was cocky, too cocky, bro. I was, and so I remember having multiple conversations. My brother Alex. You know how when you get in a conversation with somebody,
yeah,
and like all of a sudden you guys know which buttons to push, but like they bring out like the worst in you, and also like they'll start saying things that are truthful. They've been wanting to say this the whole time, but ever since. But because you guys are good, you guys don't. But then when you guys get in an argument, they're like, "Well, you know what?" And you're like, "Oh shoot, where does this come from?"
Man, I feel like my wife. I'm just kidding. She doesn't do that. I'm just joking.
But my brother Alex and I were 11 months apart, right? And so we're close.
Your parents didn't waste time, bro.
They didn't. They did not.
Like literally 2 months after having you, they were pregnant again. Jeez, so shout out to Pops.
And then they had twins, it was Alex and Ariel. There's 3 of them in less than a year.
Shout out to Dad.
But and Mom too.
Oh, Mom too, because she had to
carry him.
She had to carry him.
So, but I would have arguments with Alex, and where he would say this all the time, and it would get me upset. He would say, "Nobody likes you." I'm like, well, come on, everybody likes me. I'm thinking in my head. But he's like, everyone thinks you're too cocky. That's why nobody likes you. I'm like, oh shoot. And he would say that every argument. I'm like, little by little, start chipping away at me. Like, dang. And I started to notice it, started believing those words. And so I'm like, man, he's kind of right. Like, there's people who like, they're not like my true friends, in a sense to where like I thought they were all about me, and maybe they were, but there was just like that stigma that I was putting up. It was more like I was like mean, bully, and I thought I was too good for everybody else. And so I remember being in the Air Force. I was a fresh start. I was leaving. I'm getting out of Carruthers, getting out of Dodge, getting out of Easton, and I'm like, I need to be a different person. And I've always seen it. Well, I don't know if you've seen like family members, they would leave and they would come back, and you would just have this whole new respect for them.
A whole different respect for them. Yeah.
And so I was like, that's what I want to be like. I was like, I just want the old me to die, you know? So like, this is going to be a great opportunity for me to leave. And so I had to learn that through these arguments with my brother. We had, those Proverbs 27:17 conversations where we would always talk about each other and how we can make each other better. And I was like, you know what? As I go in the Air Force, I'm going to be a different person. So I definitely try to humble myself in every aspect of my life. I
feel like to this day, though, your brother does that in a sense, right? Because you guys have such a close relationship.
Oh yeah, he's probably like a lot of people will be honest with me and be brutal.
But he's like on a different level.
But he doesn't hold anything. I'm talking about not an ounce of mercy. You know what I mean?
He does not care.
Hey, this is what you're doing. I mean, like, you better start changing. And so
That's
I look up
crazy.
to my brother, man. He's my little brother, my younger brother, and I look up to him a lot. But he so truthful with me. That's the only way I grow, man. And so somebody with him in my corner, well, I'm just like, I know I can succeed in a lot of areas, because he tells me the truth all the time, and I need to hear it. So, but going back to like what we wish we would have told our younger self, like, I wish I would have been more of like an Alex to Joey, So I needed to tell myself, stop being cocky, stop being too overconfident. You're not the best, and high school is not your best years, bro. Like, this is only 4 years.
It's your starting years.
But if you think you're all bad, you are nothing.
You're nothing.
This stuff means nothing when you get out of high school.
Yeah.
There's so many more finances, your job, your future wife, your future kids, your future church, your friends, your family. Like what you have right here, sports, bro. I mean, sports build character, and so I'll never take sports away because sports are a big aspect of life where it made me the person that I am right now. But like, not winning the Valley Championships or even winning state or even placing in the state or anything, those things don't affect or define my life.
Yeah.
So just to me, it was like, it broke me down. I thought it was the end of the world in a lot of areas. I'm like, bro, you got nothing to worry about because this stuff doesn't matter in the full scheme of life.
That's so true. You talking about high school, how did you now that and I'll answer this too, but I wanted to ask you this because as you were talking, now that you're obviously out of high school, it's been 10 years now?
10 years, yeah. This June.
Yeah. So 10 years that you're out of high school. Yeah. So 10 years that you're out of high school.
Man.
People that now see you, what do they say about you? Do they think of you differently now because you're not that cocky, arrogant guy that you were in high school?
Man, the only thing that kind of sucks is I haven't really seen or spent time with people in high school.
What about any teachers have seen you at all? Because I had a principal see me.
I had one of my math teachers see him. His name is Mr. Gill. He's my geometry teacher.
Yeah.
But and we talked a little bit, usually every year during the high school graduation and stuff like that. But I don't get an opportunity to see my teachers. Just more my wrestling coach every once in a while. My boy Stockton, my wrestling coach. But dude, that's it, man. I don't know. I almost feel like those years were like kind of shameful, man. So like I don't really go back to visit.
No, for sure. Heck no. Yeah.
But not that I don't feel that, but I just feel like also, I'm just gonna let the past be the past. Yeah, I got new things to look forward to, like my church and new friends,
Yeah.
and like our ministry, just and worship, young adults, just anything at Northeast, spending time making connection with other churches, other pastors, other worship pastors. Other young adult pastors.
Yeah.
So
what's going on here at the podcast and how it's been growing,
especially right here. Yeah.
The reason why I asked that is because a couple weeks ago,
yeah, you saw somebody.
My old principal, was a part of a wedding that Ashley and I were shooting.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as she saw me, she hugged me, whatever. And in the inside of me, I wanted to be like, yeah, you thought I wasn't going to be nothing, fool, because you were part of me getting kicked out, But, like, obviously, like, she's like, oh, my God, look at you. You have a daughter, because Adla was there as well.
She was probably proud.
Because my dad was marrying the couple.
Yeah, yeah.
And she every time I, like, glance over or I look around, she's just looking at me smiling. Because in reality, bro, I shouldn't have been the guy that I am today.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, I probably would have been locked up. Either that, selling drugs, strung out on drugs, or something,
Yeah.
Or just sleeping around with women and whatever. But when she saw me, like I can tell, like she hugged me, and I can tell with that hug, she was like, I felt like she was like, I'm proud of you in a sense.
Yeah.
Because she saw that, Ashley and I were working together. She got to meet Ashley. She got to meet Isla. And she was just like, wow, look at you. You got a little one. You're married. Like, she was so happy.
Yeah.
Because in reality, like, I was nowhere. You would have thought I would have been the total opposite of who I am today. And she knew I went to church and everything because we talked about church, right? She grew up in church herself as well. So for her to see that, I think it was just like a culture shock.
Yeah.
But it was also like, wow, like he beat all the odds.
Yeah.
Because in reality, I shouldn't have, and I did.
That's good. And, no teacher, I mean, there's some bad teachers out there. Just like, some bad cops, just some bad pastors, just some bad teachers, But for the majority of the teachers, like 80, 90% of the teachers, I don't even know the exact percentage, but most teachers, they don't want you to be a statistic, in related to drugs,
but sometimes
gun violence,
they push
gangs.
you to that. Because sometimes I feel like teachers also lack teaching.
And that's true, but that's all part of like the bad teaching.
Yeah, that's true.
Bad teacher groups.
But you got teachers over here.
I had wonderful teachers, man. Like I had teachers
too.
that loved me.
I gotta shout out one more because we're friends on Facebook, Miss Knizik. Yo, like
your friends on Facebook.
Yeah. She was my old English high school teacher, and she always said like you're gonna do something. She was the one person that was always positive to me. She knew I was a tough pickle. I was a tough guy to deal with in high school, but she was always the one that gave me grace.
Yeah.
I don't know if she believes it. I don't even know if she goes. I don't know if she goes to church. I don't know what. To this day, I don't even know if she does. She probably doesn't. If she does, great. If she don't, get to church. No, I'm just kidding. But no, for real, you should. But for
now,
like, she was always the one that gave me grace. She always said, "You're gonna be a public speaker. Like I can just see it in you." She was saying what I'm supposed to be doing without even knowing that this is what I was called to do. And so I've been, I post when we drop a podcast or whatever. And a couple months ago, when I had reshared, I think something that Aaron posted about our podcast, she sent me a message, man, and she was just like, like basically like Nehemiah, Nemo, because obviously they knew me as Nemo. Like I'm extremely proud of you to see what you're doing. It's incredible. I still remember when I told you were gonna be you were gonna be a good. You're gonna be a good public speaker, stuff like that, and for her so she's like, and for me to see like firsthand what you're doing, keep up the great work. And I was just like, dang, that's so cool, man. So I thought that was real cool because I also had those teachers that flat out said like, you're gonna be nothing, bro. Like you're just gonna be like your brother. Everyone knew who my brother was. I'm not gonna explain what my brother did in the past.
Yeah.
But. They're like, you're gonna end up like your brother. You're gonna end up just like him. You're gonna do the same exact thing that he did. Because in reality, bro, I was going that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why your teachers are so surprised. Your principal's so surprised that she's over here singing at her wedding, taking pictures.
I have my own business. Like what?
Yeah. And no, man. And see, the thing is, like, even with like teachers, and this goes with anybody, even if you're not gonna put forth the action, and the effort to like try to change somebody's life physically, like you're gonna be there for them, kind of mentoring them. At least just continue to give those words of encouragement because like the Bible says the power of the tongue is life and death, it can give life to somebody or it can give death to somebody. And so whether you're really going to be spending time with others, trying to really mentor them, motivate them, disciple them, grow them up or not, the best thing you could do to anybody, whether you feel like they have a potential or not, although everybody does have a potential to do great things, but whether you feel like they don't have potential or not, man, you can always give an encouraging word. Just like, even if you don't believe it, bro, or just lies, I'm not even going to say lies. You just got to believe it. Like, encourage somebody, man. Just encourage somebody. Hey, you got great works. There's so much more than you can do. Like, I look at inspirational movies. Man, like, remember the Titans, bro? Freedom Riders, Coach Carter, where these people make an impact. Some may be true, some maybe not. But there's stories about people always encouraging and giving the underdog a chance and an opportunity to come and do something great. And, so I always felt like I was never an underdog, but I did feel like I was letting people down. I just thought I was too good for myself and I was too good for other people. So I feel like, man, I let people down when it comes to what I could have been, how I should have been. But now I'm like, bro, I don't even care about that mentality anymore. I'm like, I know God has great things for me, and I'm placed here in a position where He's exactly where I need to be. You know, so
Yeah.
I'm just looking to bigger and better things.
If
But
I would
I'm allowing God to lead.
allow God to lead, if I were to tell something to my younger self, it was stop the distractions, keep pushing towards the calling that God has in your life.
Yeah.
I've known since I was 13 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old. I knew what my calling was. And I did everything in my will and power in my high school years to run away from it.
Yeah.
And God, for some reason, always pulled me back. It was always something drastic that happened in my life that brought me back to the feet of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter how many times I try to run, God would always, what are you doing? Come,
Yeah.
get back over here. Like, what? You're not supposed to do that. I tried to follow the footsteps of, the wrong people in my life. I would do dumb stuff, but I felt like man, I remember one time I got jumped. All right, so I was walking with a group of guys. I was the only one to not get touched. They jumped the other two guys that I was with. You know what they did, bro?
What do they do?
They just held me back.
Oh yeah.
So it was like God was even protecting me every single step.
Yeah.
But I walked a while back to my house my freshman year. It was a pretty decent walk. It wasn't just. It was like, I'll say from here, probably to a little bit past Chachansky Park.
Okay.
Chachansky's not. That's it's a good it's a 3-minute drive, but it's like a 15, 20-minute, maybe even 30-minute walk.
Yeah.
So I walked that far and I never got touched once. People would jump other guys that I was with, or they would try to touch me. For some reason, I never got touched. Now, don't get me wrong. I fought back to make sure my boys didn't get hurt, but they never hit me back.
Mm-hmm.
So even when I was trying to do the wrong thing, God was still protecting me. So if I was to tell my younger self something now, it would be cut out the distractions and focus on what God has called you to do.
Yeah, that's so true.
Because if you don't, you're going to live a tough life.
Yeah.
And thank God I'm good now. I'm good. I'm where I want to. I'm not where I want to be. I thank God that I'm not where I used to be.
Yeah.
Like I know there's more for me, but I thank God that I'm not where I was.
Yeah.
Because I would have been jacked.
Yeah.
My brother wouldn't have let me get that dark and deep either into stuff. I knew that for a fact. My best friend Malik, he for sure wouldn't have not let me get into some of the stuff that he knew I was starting to get into. And Malik would also tell me that, hey, no, NEMO, no. He would call me Nehemiah. He told me, we call my real name. Yeah. He would.
He gets mad at you?
Yeah.
Nehemiah.
Even to this day, he never really called me NEMO. He would do sometimes, but like he was the one guy like in my ear, both ears. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And he did a little something too, but he for the most part was always protecting me from, committing those stupid things.
Yeah.
So I would tell my younger self, cut out the distractions and keep pursuing the calling that God has on your life. Because imagine if we would have both been living in our calling, just focus ourselves on the calling that God had for us in high school.
No, that's true. And you know what? I was just thinking about that because I watched a video of Ruslan recently.
Ah, boy.
And he talked about I forgot who he was talking about that it came out. And
he's the one person.
Public school and homeschooling. He's the one person.
He's the one person I want to have on the podcast so bad, man.
Oh, really?
Oh, man. I love him, bro. I used to follow him when he used to rap.
Oh, yeah.
My first ever conference in 2012 that I went to here in California, it was in Palm Beach, and he was the special guest. He was rapping, bro.
Yeah.
And I've been following him since 2012.
Yeah. That's so funny. So let him know, Ruslan, pay attention, please. Join our podcast.
I'm making this into real right here.
Right, cool. But one of the things that he was talking about homeschooling his kids, he was listing off some pros and cons. But one of the things that he said, I was like, oh, this is pretty important, and I want my daughter to be focused, laser focused like this. Is that like with being homeschooled, and like for me, I don't really have an opinion on the matter. I haven't really done a lot of homework as to whether or not my kids need to be public school or homeschool. I do have some opinions, but for me, there's no right or wrong answer. But he said,
well, we can get into that too.
Yeah, I know, a big good conversation. He said that like because the guys that help him out is his media production team, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they were both also homeschooled too, and now he's homeschooling his kids. But he said that when you homeschool your kids, it's like you can finish the homework off a little earlier, and then later, like throughout the week, like or even graduate earlier, they can then end up focusing on what their passion is, what their calling is, and he can be able to guide them, you know?
Yeah.
So they're homeschooling, but they're also like, all right, what do we want to do in life? And let's aim for that goal. Let's start building up our skills right now, you know? And so, like, going back to what you said, you would have been able to focus a little bit more and with no distractions. Bro, I feel like we could have been like further out and like whatever it is that we like to do, whether it's hobbies or skills or talents that God's given us, and further develop them to be better than where we are right now, you know?
I probably right now would have been a full-time pastor.
A full-time
Maybe
pastor.
maybe not a head pastor, but probably young adult pastor, youth pastor.
Yeah.
But I probably would have done that because I know it's a part of my calling,
Yeah.
right? Is to be a pastor. I just know it, man. Like it's been spoken over my life. I know it. I know it. And like we had a conversation, me, you, and Tim. Like, what would be 2 things out of the fivefold ministry that we feel like we were called to do? And you guys both agreed as me being a pastor quickly. I don't remember the other one, but for me, I think it was apostle and pastor.
I'm an apostle.
Yeah, but saying that, like, man, I just lost my train of thought. See, that's what happens. No, but I would have been a pastor probably right now. But I also feel like I had to go to those things, so now I can help pastor others or help teach others. I wouldn't even say pastor, help teach others, help conversate with others when they're going through the same situations that I went through. So half of me is like, man, I wish I would have never went through those situations. I wish I would have never had to deal with that. But another side of me is like, I thank you, God, that I went through that. Thank you for allowing me to go through that, because now I can teach the younger person that's probably was in the same footsteps, or if not trying to pursue the same footsteps that I was pursuing in high school that were not good. And now I can maybe save them from being that way.
Well, you're more relatable. You can see their end goal. You can see kind of where their life is heading towards. And then they're more prone to accept and listen to your advice because you've been through it as well, you know? Giving examples, you know, with your life being your testimony.
It's hard for me to listen to pastors or even teachers, whatever, that are not relatable.
Yeah.
And like, to me, it's like...
That's the biggest thing. People want to be relatable.
It's like, to me, it's tough for me to hear you talk about you only went through this one situation. I thank God that you only went through that. But instead of you talking about that situation, maybe you should talk about, hey, I thank God that God is protecting me so much that I never had to experience this.
Yeah.
You know...
But one thing I can learn from even those pastors that really haven't gone through the same thing we did is like, man, how can we allow like our kids to have that life?
So that's why it's hard for me personally. Yeah. But it's also it's a little easier for me to be like, okay, well, now I know God's just protected this man. His family's protected him. This is how I want. You said it. Yeah. I want to be like this for my daughter, for my future children, because I don't want them to ever experience the financial problems I had to go through. The stupidity of high school that I went through, losing my virginity at a super young age. I want my daughter to be a virgin until she gets married. Yeah. I want my son to be a virgin until he gets married. I don't want him to be like, oh, I got to test the waters. No, you don't. No. When you get married, you dive in.
Don't make those mistakes.
Don't make those mistakes, because you know how many soul ties I've had to deal with. Yeah. And how many problems that my wife and I've had to deal with because in high school I was being that guy.
You're bringing that baggage into the marriage.
So much soul ties that, you know, I always said, like, so many soul ties that you tied up. Yeah. And then when you go to marriage, you're so tied up that you can't even see, like, you can't even untangle yourself because you have so many soul ties and so much baggage that is so heavy to carry that one day you're going to explode on your spouse because of what's happened to you in high school. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I lost my virginity my freshman year. Yeah. And I wish I wouldn't have done that. Yeah. Because it led me through a whole rabbit hole of situations. Maybe pornography wouldn't have been a problem. It opened up
everything. Yeah.
Pornography wouldn't have been a problem for me if I would have never lost my virginity in high school. Mm-hmm. Because when I wasn't doing it, I wanted to see it. Yeah. It's just that simple, you know? And it's like, dang, if I would have just not went through that.
We just got to avoid these things with our kids. Avoid it, you know? And somebody told me when I was younger, because I remember I was in Sunday school, and my tia Esther, I love my tia Esther. And I remember she was like, hey, everyone's going to give you testimony next Sunday. For a whole week, I had to think about, man, what's my testimony? And then that morning, I was like nervous. And I'm only like 8, 9 years old. But I told my tia Esther, I don't have a testimony, man. Nothing bad has ever happened in my life. She's like, mijo. She looked me in the eye. She's like, that's the best testimony anybody could ever have, man. Yeah. I was like, man, so I don't wish any mistakes or anything that we went through on anybody, I pray that, like I said earlier, God's intentions for us is to have a great testimony to her. She said, anybody who grew up in God, in a loving home, loving family, who loves Jesus, that's a great testimony. That's the number one testimony anybody can ever have, and not having to battle with these things. Now, granted, we're going to battle through some stuff, right? But not to the extent that we did. Why does it have to be like that? I don't want my daughter to be. If she was mad, can you place your daughter in your shoes in every situation you've ever been in, Nemo? Man, my daughter would have crumbled, bro. She would have broke down, and it would have been horrible. Yeah. I never want her to go through that. I even
sometimes think, like, what happened if my wife would have experienced what I've experienced? My wife wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
She'd be a whole different person.
The only reason my wife doesn't have that perfect testimony is because of me.
It's all right. That's good.
It's good. We go through some stuff. You know, I love my wife, but I brought a lot of baggage in.
Even Ashley never really been through things.
Yeah, neither
when she got with me, bro. I'm so sorry, babe. I love you.
Man, same here, man.
That's why I love my wife so much.
I'm so sorry.
You know, because she had to deal with so much baggage that I carried. And even to this day, sometimes, you know, she has to deal with things that's happened to me in the past. You know, so, man, dude, there's just...
I feel bad, dude. My wife, she's so focused
now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, dang it, dude.
Like, we don't deserve them, bro. Man... I'm sorry too, man. I messed up. Man, you know what? It's gonna turn into an apology right now. Ready?
But the one thing that I'm grateful for is the fact that now, while yes, I wish I'd never had to go through those things in high school, I do thank God for them because it's built me into the man that I am today.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to share my life, my problems, my situations that I've been through, to only bring healing to someone else. At the end of the day, God, I thank you that you allowed me to go through this, because now that kid around the corner that's in high school is dealing with that. I can help him.
Yeah.
I can help him be focused on what God has called him to be, because I didn't do it, but I can do it for someone else. You know?
And so that goes back to, like, what do you wish somebody would have told you? Exactly what you wish you would have told the high school students now. So, like, for me, man, I wish I would have had, other than my dad, other than my parents, like, I wish I would have had stronger mentors to give me, you know, to be honest with me in a lot of areas. Just stronger mentors. People are scared. They're scared to give that advice, you know? Like, for me, man, I'm like, I already know what I went through, so I'm not going to hold anything back. With the people that I have under me that I can then disciple, I just don't want them to go through anything, any hurt experience. But for me, I needed somebody strong. And the reason why I say somebody else other than my parents is because sometimes we don't listen to our parents' voices. And because we're so comfortable with our parents.
Bro,
we're an extension of our parents.
Half of the time I didn't listen to them. And that's why.
So you needed somebody else.
I went through it all.
Imagine having another NEMO right now, you know, like, who would have spoken to you, spoke life into you. You probably would have been more prone to listen. And so for me, like, I grew to that. And I was also the kind of person, like, one of my 5 love languages, when I first got married, my wife and I did it. And my number one was words of affirmation. So, like, anybody who came in as a mentor, like, I was fixed on them. I'm like, yeah, I'm listening to you, everything you have to say. So if it was bad, it was bad stuff. If it was good, I was listening to the good, you know. But yeah, I just needed somebody there as a good, strong, solid mentor, and just to be honest with me. Hey, man, this is what I've been through. But now we went through it, and now we can be those people.
If I was to tell something to someone today, a high school student today, I would say, cut out your distractions and focus on what you're called and purposed to do. And if they come back and say, well, I don't know how to do that, well, I would say, come on, let's do it together.
Big practical stuff. I'll tell you right now, man.
Simple.
The
Simplicity.
Parties,
yes.
The drinking, the drugs, you know, the girls, and just looking good, all that stuff, man. Just let it fade away. Get rid of that right now, because none of that matters later. None of that matters.
If you want to look good, that's fine.
But look good in a good way.
In a good way. Don't do it because you want, you know, little Panchita over here, the little Maria, to give you some play. I always say, if you, what did Lecrae say? If you live for their acceptance, you'll die from their rejection. I feel like that's what I would probably tell them.
Yeah.
You know, be the only person you need to worry about being accepted from. It's not even your family. It's God.
Yeah.
And and your family's gonna accept you for who you are.
Yep.
But make sure that your acceptance is found in God. Make sure that you're found in Him. I just did a video that I'm gonna post later today, and I'll just share this. I talked about Jeremiah 29:11, but I talked about how after the scripture, the 3 verses after, you will come pray to me. When you come seek me, you seek me with your whole heart. And I talked about that. And when you come seek me, I'll be, and you find me when you seek me with your, all that.
Yeah.
And I talked about that. And my three little bullet points with those 4 verses was seek Him. No, it was trust Him, seek Him, find Him. If you want to live right now in this life, I say, if you want to cut out all the distractions in your life, 1, make sure you seek God wholeheartedly, right? You have to trust God and believe God with everything that you have.
Yeah.
And 3, make sure that you're found in Him. Because when you're found in Him, when you seek Him 100%, and when you trust Him, He will open everything, and He will give you everything that you need. Purpose. He'll give you your purpose. He'll give you your plan. He'll give you what you're called to do. He'll guide your every step. Just live in that right there. Live in the trust. Live in the belief. Live in the seek. And live in the find.
And that's a firm foundation you can live on right there. Those 3 things.
That's simple.
Not anybody else but God.
That's it. That's what I would tell them. And I always say my phone will be open to them at all times. You need help? I'm here for you. I can't say I had people that were really there for me 100% like I've been there for others. Mm-hmm. Not their problem. They just weren't taught that.
Yeah.
And I was taught the opposite way. They weren't there for me, well, I'll be there for them. Because at the end of the day, I don't want you to ever have to experience anything that I've been through. And I probably won't even share 100% what I've even been through. You know, for the most part, everything I've gone through. My wife knows everything I've gone through. Aaron knows. My family knows bits and pieces of everything I've gone through, but they're not stupid. My mom knew what I was doing. My mom knew 100%. My mom told me that long ago, boy, you was stupid. I know exactly what you were doing. You thought you can hide everything from me. She told me, flat out, those pills that I found in my room the one day that was all balled up and, lit up like it was supposed to be to sell. She's like, I knew that was yours.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, when I found the weed, and I knew that was yours. That wasn't your brother's. I was like, I'm not stupid. Mm-hmm. I just acted like you were just getting away with stuff. She's like, but boy, I knew your every step. And I was just like, dang. I felt embarrassed. My mom was like, I had to let you go through that.
Yeah.
To know how good you really have it.
Yeah.
I was like, shoot. Shoot. So, but yeah. That's good right there, huh?
That is.
That's a good one.
That is.
Aaron, you got anything to say?
My boy's speechless.
He just smiling.
We missed you, Aaron.
Nah, man, we missed you.
And we're gonna talk about this again when you're back on.
Because I know he has a perspective and some stuff on this one. Because this was one of the topics I think that me and him both discussed about talking.
Yeah.
And we never did talk about it. And we shared a little bit with Rudy. What would you tell your younger self? And
yeah.
And he said what his was. And man, I'm just grateful that now I'm thankful for my high school. I'm thankful I went through what I went through in high school now.
Yeah.
Just because it's made me a better man.
Same.
And now I can teach my daughter to not do that.
Yeah.
And hopefully our son, Jesus, you hear my heart, a son, right? I need a boy next.
Makes 2 of us, Lord.
So, you want to sign us off?
Yeah, guys, thanks for joining us again in Creative Culture. We miss Aaron. Aaron, love you, brother. Do us a favor, pray for him. We know he's going through a lot right now. He's focused on work. He's focused on work.
He's not going through nothing bad, y'all. I promise y'all. He's not going through nothing bad. He's just
we just pray that give him peace, and strength while he's out there managing kids at the camp. But hey, for anybody who's going through any of the stuff that we just talked about today, bro, go ahead and give us a comment, man. Reach out to us. Nemo and I are here to talk at any point, any moment. Our phones are available. Our social media is available. If you got anything you're struggling with, you can't talk to anybody else about it, and we're here. And we just want to be able to help you guys out. Mm-hmm. The whole point of what we do, we just want to be able to reach out, man, and just give you guys words of encouragement on where we struggled at and how we can do better. Always looking to progress. Always looking to move forward. But other than that, we appreciate you guys walking. Go ahead and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, hit that notification bell. you guys can join our club membership.
Patreon,
Patreon,
man. We have not mentioned it.
We haven't in a while.
And we do apologize that we haven't posted any content. We've just been doing a lot. Just a lot of stuff has been happening. My personal life.
A lot of shifts.
Yeah,
a lot of changes.
A lot of shifting is going on. But thank y'all to the club members that are subscribed. Please subscribe to. Yes, true. Please subscribe to our club members. First 50 is only $10 a month. You get exclusive content. Hey, and soon we're gonna have
some gifts, some
prizes,
some
gifts.
Awards.
But also soon we're gonna start live streaming just to our Patreon members while we record live.
Yeah.
So y'all want to be a part of it, and who knows, maybe in the fall or at the end of summer, we might have a live event.
That'd be nice.
We might have a live event with some of the special guests that we've already had on. I've already talked to Aaron about this, and I think it'd be cool, man.
That's true. We will be inviting you guys, everybody, as a matter of fact.
And you never know, we might have some special guests, you know, that we have that I can have work out for us. So, so yeah, man.
But we love you guys. Signing off. My name's Joey once again.
This is Aaron right here. Right here. You see him. And it's your boy Devo. We'll see you guys later.
Love you guys.